Hi folks, this is Vincent Adelie with Dad's Gaming Addiction, and today we went on a field trip. We don't get to do a whole lot of those, but I'm kind of glad that we did because we had a lot of fun. Today we visited Puzzle Room Pittsburgh and Primal Pigment. They are sister companies of each other, and they are located in the same building. And we met with owner Mike, and I'm going to butcher his last name. It's on his business card here. Chiappinelli. It sounds very Italian, so I can totally relate to that. He co-owns these two sister companies with his girlfriend Jessica. So we met with Mike for about 3 hours today, and we actually got to do an escape room. I'm going to go ahead and start playing the video here. It's just a series of videos that we put together for fun, some pictures that Ida Lee took. And this was our first puzzle room experience in person. We play a lot of video games, but this was our first real in-person escape room. So this particular company offers 3 different escape rooms. There's the study, which is the easiest one, and then you've got Seeking Sasquatch, which is the medium difficulty one, and then there's the zombie one. I don't remember. Here it is. Escape the Undead. That is the hardest one out of all of them, and supposedly the most interactive. The one that we did today was the study. Probably for the best, considering that I just felt like we were failing hard. But as first timers, I think we did okay. Typically, these sessions can be booked anywhere from 2 to 6 people, something like that. And because we were only 2 people, there were less hands to go around. Regardless of whether or not you have 2 minutes, or 2 people, or 6 people, you still have 60 minutes to complete the room by doing a series of puzzles. And for those of you not familiar with escape rooms, like I said, you're put into a room, you're presented with a series of puzzles, and you're trying to get out of that room. Sometimes one room will lead into another room, and sometimes some of the clues you find in one room will go to the other room, and you're like, oh, so that's what that's for, that kind of thing. So yeah, excuse that awful picture there. These are the pictures.
By the way, sorry, real quick, that lobby was not the escape room. That was actually just the lobby, the check-in.
This is just the lobby. It's a very cozy area. In fact, Mike was telling us that he and his girlfriend Jessica built all of this from the ground up. He actually pulled out a book, which you'll see later, and was showing us pictures of how the building looked when they first got it. They added walls, they painted, took them Jessica 3 months or something to paint the one area, something like that. But yeah, in this lobby area, you're able to buy a pair of, just various things, trinkets and cups, merchandise. There's even a Connect 4 game, which was kind of cool. Very colorful. Again, very cozy. I was surprised all of it fit into that one building. That's my favorite picture. Ida Lee took that one. She's very proud of it. But very. Yeah. I had the video camera, and she had her iPhone, and she was just snapping pictures. In case you want to get a hold of these folks, they can be found on 722 Allegheny River Boulevard in Verona, PA. And their phone number is 412-545-3009. You can also visit www.puzzleroompittsburgh.com. I'll put links in the below description for you so that you can easily access that website. You can learn pricing information. I believe I saw in there it was $35 a person. But like I said, you can book multiple people, and you and a bunch of friends can go in here and just have some fun. And we'll talk about the sister company in a little bit once we get there. So yeah, this is the after area. This is where people can go to hold up signs. Sometimes you might see people on social media holding up signs, hey, we escaped, or hey, I'm was stupid. There's Mike there, and he's about to show us the video and rules and all that for the study that we're about to embark. Now, I have to warn you, some of the rooms that we were in were a little dark. I did my best to brighten it up in post, but these rooms, I guess, are purposely dark so that you don't spot things as easily. Because there were a couple of things.
The ambiance, too, the immersiveness.
Right. So I muted the audio throughout this entire slideshow only because throughout sometimes he would talk about spoilers, and there's one thing I want to stress is I tried to avoid as many spoilers as possible. I tried to focus more on the outside. We did get some inside room shots, but I tried to stay away from the puzzles so that folks would not have their experience ruined. So if you see very little of the inside of the rooms, it's for the owner's protection too. I don't want to spoil all these puzzles and then there's no reason to go. So we did, cover a little bit of the inside. But the study, the one that we're doing, essentially we're trying to find, I think it was 4 artifacts or something like that. And I think it's safe to say that because there's a description on the website as to what the overall story/lore is. But as far as how to get these artifacts, you have to find combinations to different things. You have to move things around. You have to search for things in weird places. There's a little bit of dexterity involved, but nothing crazy. What's cool is that if you get stuck, and which we were recording in addition to trying to solve the room in 60 minutes, and we were only 2 people. So we were at a severe disadvantage because I had to stop and take film every now and again. So he was kind. He was over the intercom. He'll repeat a clue that we may have already heard, or maybe you should look in this area. He was guiding us along like a dungeon master would in Dungeons and Dragons. And that was really cool. This is the first room that we walked into. It was a very small, cozy room, and before we could even progress to the main room, we had to get through this, intro room. And he said it was okay to film here because it wasn't that, it wasn't that spoilery. But as you can see, there were, different pieces missing from the paintings. They even provided us with a tablet to where we could write stuff down as we went. It was like one of those electric tablets. On occasion, we would find random numbers and letters. What are they for? I don't know. I'm not going to tell you. Did you enjoy this? Was this a good intro room, do you think, hon?
I think it was excellent. The first thing that popped when you go into the room was all the artwork, and especially the ones that were, I don't know if I should say this, but the missing pieces, and then you have to kind of put it together. But it was really good to get the ball rolling, and that was actually the room that we spent the longest in, I think.
Yeah.
Was it, or the one
we took too long in that room because we were too afraid to break stuff.
Yes.
There are things that are glued down and nailed down and different things like that on purpose so that you can't pick them up. But we were when a door wouldn't open, we didn't touch it anymore. But he's like, no, give that a good yank. I'm like, oh, okay. And then we found something in there so that was cool. What you're looking at now is go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Oh no, I was just gonna say in the video games, I am all about destroying everything. I will break a vase to see if there's something in it. And here, I'm so scared to do that. I was very timid, I guess, in trying to touch things.
Mm-hmm.
And you're kind of supposed to be exploring.
Right.
And it was just really nerve-wracking to touch stuff. I felt like I was in someone else's house.
I'm really glad that he said that we were actually really nice about it. There are people that he's had before where they would take every item on the one area and just completely remove everything. And he's like, no, you don't need to do that. No, because then it'll take forever to put away, that kind of thing. I love it. But yeah, like I said, we didn't get too much into this. What you're looking at now, or what you saw, was the main room. Again, it was just sort of a study, and we had to sort of go around the room and put various things together. But I do not want to spoil any of the puzzles there. After we completed the study with Mike's help, he showed us a preview of the Sasquatch escape room, and that's what you're looking at right now. This is like the entrance/tent. And one thing I noticed about this scenario was that it was extremely dark. And I don't want to spoil any more than that. I don't know any of the puzzles or anything, but based on the trailers that are available on the website, folks will be using those lanterns on a regular basis to try and figure out these puzzles because the area is purposely dark. I don't want to spoil the ambiance or other things that he was talking about behind the scenes, but yeah, this is supposed to be the medium difficulty room, and I wouldn't mind coming back and trying this one now that I've had.
We don't know any of the puzzles on that one, so it was pretty interesting to even see it at first glance.
And now Mike is taking us back toward the zombie room. You may recognize we've already shown coverage of this area. This is where folks go to take their after pictures. There's Sasquatch there. Some people like to take photos with Sasquatch. I think he even demonstrates that in a minute. But the zombie room is actually back here, and from my understanding, it is the hardest one out of all of them. And there he is. And he's a character, Mike. He's so sociable. Like I try to be charismatic as an introvert. He ran rings around me, like
both of us.
Like he is so outgoing and kind and nice that. I wanted to spend all day with him, but the fact that he spent 3 hours at his expense showing us all of this, like, that was really cool of him to do. So anyway, and Mike is a great guy. You should definitely meet him if you're down there. I'm sure you'll probably run into him anyway, but what was her name?
That was my twin sister, Bethany.
Bethany, yes, your twin sister. Mm-hmm. Was it Bethany? You have a good memory.
I think it was Bethany.
Yeah, and he said you have to, like, puzzle your way into this door. Yeah, there's a again, I don't want to spoil any of what he showed you, but like this is like a bunker of sorts, I guess, and you're going to be trying to complete your objective here. As you can see, it's very foreboding and dark and scary looking, very old school. I had to lighten I actually had to lighten the camera post because all of this came out really dark. So if it's a bit grainy, it's just because it's either a really dark picture that you can see or some brightness in there. But anyway, did you have a favorite out of all these three that you saw? Like, did you gravitate toward one of these themes over the other?
I think that one actually.
You liked the zombie one?
Just because there's a story behind it, and I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about that story, which I don't. I'd rather be safe and not talk about it, but there's a really crazy story behind it, because in almost every escape room, it's like, oh, you have to escape this room, but in this one, it's actually a little bit different. There's a twist to it, so it was kind of interesting.
And yeah, I don't want to spoil, like I said, I don't want to spoil too much. It's hard to talk about this when I can't talk about it. I know. But I will say that, yeah, there's something that we found in said experience there. How you get to that one, I don't want to spoil that, but there's that. Idly took a picture of that. That was cool. Yep. Let's see what else. These are probably just a bunch of pictures at this point. Oh, there's another video, security terminal. Yeah, supposedly, like I said, this one is the hardest out of all of them. I don't know if we're ready for this one. I would like to try it. I just don't know if we're ready for it. One thing that's hard for me when it comes to escape rooms is that I hate the time crunch. 60 minutes is not enough time to really immerse yourself in an experience. Like, you are in a hurry to find the clues, to put these things together. And it's hard to just sort of relax, sit back, and enjoy the experience as you're doing it. But at the same time, that's like a catch-22, because like at the same time, you're getting that adrenaline rush at the same time of trying to get out. So I guess you can look at it from both sides. There's that book I was talking about. I don't feature it a whole lot here, but he was showing us like, hey, this is what the building used to look like, and this is what we did to it. And if you ask, I'm sure he'll probably show you, because he was glad to take it out. But yeah, that 60-minute time crunch, it goes by so fast. It does. Bless you.
Sorry about that. I was gonna say that they all custom built everything. I think it was like a team of 3, and the fact that they did that all themselves, the ideas, the rooms, and it's like all from their head and from their technical skills and construction skills. That I found so absolutely impressive. I can't even imagine. Sorry, God.
No, it's fine. I actually paused it here because what I didn't know was that they had a sister company, Primal Pigment. It's actually in the basement of the same building. And in this particular area, this is separate from the escape room, although I believe you can book like both at the same time. But anyway, Primal Pigment is where folks can go to just basically throw paint around a room, whether it be with squirt guns or super soakers or balloons. I think he had a tetherball in there. Let's go ahead and just play it now. But yeah, it was essentially just one room that folks go into, and you can actually pick a mixtape. Like he's a DJ, he said on the side,
Yep.
and he's been doing that for quite a while. So he enjoys putting all that stuff together. But anyway, you can like choose your music. You can go into this room with a bunch of friends or family, whatever, and you also suit up in this, I guess, protective garb. You may still get a little bit of paint on you and stuff, but typically, as you can see here, it's just ridiculously messy. He will take us down in a moment to show us. Did you have any thoughts about Primal Pigment? Like,
It was cool. It was just it's like laser tag without the combat, or like really you're just painting and getting messy. Actually, I never played laser tag, so I don't know why I'm comparing that. But
in your head,
so,
it sounds fun and comparable.
It's just neon, everything neon in my head.
What you're looking at here is the waiting room. After you're done painting, you can come here and play games. There's foosball table. There's like Connect 4. There's like a Pong, like a little digital machine kind of thing. I think it was Pong. And some other things. What were you gonna say?
I don't remember. I was gonna say it looked amazing or something like that,
I see.
but it does.
Yeah, this is the selection of weapons that are not weapons, I should say, but the different paints. Yes, he said you can spray each other with these guns. If you want to spray each other, you can put the canvases on the various edsols and paint them, but typically the room is a mess.
Yeah.
And we actually interview Mike later on, and you'll see that in a minute. But for right now, we're just kind of showing you the behind the scenes thing. Yeah, these are the games that you can play. Again, and he said it takes about 45 minutes or so to an hour for the. I guess I should have edited that part out. Okay, I missed that one. It's okay. You should have seen my. It took me 3 hours just to cut what I did. I had so much coverage. So he takes us into this back room, and this is where you suit up. There are some large sinks off to the left and right so that you can clean up. He even said he custom built these sinks because of the mess that you can possibly get from all of this. And if that door is any indication in the background, pick a playlist. There you go. So he, like I said, he's a DJ on the side, and you can pick a playlist if you'd like. But the suits are in the back. He said he was working on getting children-sized suits. He doesn't have any right now. Right now, he uses duct tape and make sure that the adult ones are wrapped on really, really well. But he's in the process of getting some child-sized suits as well. Also, some sunglasses, I guess, in case you don't want to get.
It was the 3D glasses.
Was it 3D glasses? Is that what that was? Oh wow. Yeah. Okay. Sometimes I zone out when I'm recording because I'm making sure everything's going right, and then I completely miss 2 sentences, and I'm like, oh crap! Idly, I better have been paying attention. It always happens to me.
Sorry, sunglasses, same thing.
Yeah, sure, same thing. So here's the room. As you can see, people miss the canvas on a regular basis. It's pretty crazy. I've never see my OCD right now is screaming at me. But at the same time, I can see where a bunch of kids, and their families can get together and just kind of have some mindless fun.
It's cleaner than the room that I was growing up in. So.
Oh, that's awful.
I made a mess of my room.
What, did you just explode paint all over the room or what? Holy cow.
Yeah, sure, let's go with that.
Okay, let's go with that. Okay. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, Primal Pigment is, again, a sister company to the escape rooms. You can call these folks up, and you can book appointments for both the escape room, and I'm pretty sure you can book them for the Primal Pigment at the same time. Yeah. I think behind the scenes, he was working on setting up a second room because he was constantly booked out of this experience. So he's actually setting up a second room. He took us back there, showed us the construction and all that jazz. So more rooms are coming. And I think he also mentioned some kind of private room too for small groups. If they wanted their privacy, they could do that as well. So I really like that. But yeah, so I don't know what else to say about these two. Other than, did you have any final thoughts about your experience as a whole? Did you enjoy the escape room?
It was great. I loved both the escape room and I loved taking a look at the Primal Pigment because I've actually never ever been to any sort of events like this kind of stuff.
You've never been to neither have I. We play a lot of video games, but we've never been to a physical escape room. And the experience was vastly different than what I would have expected.
Yes.
I think it's a point of view issue too, because when you're playing a video game, you've got this, either like in Escape Simulator, you've got this third person behind the scenes thing going on, right? Or you could also go first person, maybe. I can't remember. But anyway, it's like everything seems smaller. Let's go ahead and just pause that. It's done. Okay. So yeah, everything just seems smaller. And when you're in this physical location, everything is like blown up to proportion, and everything seems so much bigger. And I think that's what messed us up. Like, I don't want to spoil anything. We took slightly longer than the hour only because we were filming and we were only 2 people. But he actually said we did a decent job for first-timers doing what we did. We did get hung up in a couple of areas, and he even gave us a walkie-talkie so that we could communicate back and forth if we needed to. He did say that we could take bathroom breaks if we needed to, but the timer would still go. Worth mentioning, no cell phones are allowed in the escape room experience, but I had special permission because of, the whole press coverage thing. But yeah, so as your first escape room, you enjoyed it then?
I loved it. I thought it was excellent. Like you said, it really is so much different than actually playing an escape room on the computer. Or like probably on VR. I've never done VR before, but I'd love to try that because I'm sure that's also different. But being there in person, you actually physically have to hold things. You physically have to, look under stuff. And woo, that was a workout. Let me tell you.
If for 60 minutes I was moving more than I have in the last week, bending over. Like there was, again, I don't want to spoil anything, but there are some instances where you may have to, depending on what room you pick, you may have to crawl, maybe through a crawl space. It's large enough for anyone, but still you may have to crawl, or you may have to use a little bit of dexterity to get this thing to align with this thing. And what was cool is he even implemented these Wi-Fi devices. So he said all of this was like automated, where, if we did something with a thing, again, I don't want to spoil it, but if we did something with a thing, that sent a signal to something else, which popped out or came down or whatever. So, and I think some of it was like magnetized, like by putting all of the pieces in this, or by doing this, that sent some kind of signal or release hatch or something, and that did something else. Or lit something up, that kind of thing. And that was really cool, the technology behind that.
He said that he was not like, I think he said something like he wasn't the Wizard of Oz guy. Like,
yes.
In the back, like doing the bells and chains or whatever. I thought he was actually doing that.
Me too.
Thought every time he got something right, he would press a button or he would unlock something. I thought he was doing that, but apparently he wasn't. So like the technology, technicality of the whole thing is mind-boggling to me. It's mind-blowing, and I'm so impressed about how they're able to actually like build everything and pull all this off. It's really impressive.
It is impressive. Well, if you hang around, folks, you'll hear our 10 to 15 minute interview with Mike. Again, very charismatic guy, very nice. And as a reminder, Puzzle Room Pittsburgh is down in Verona, Pennsylvania. Phone number 412-545-3009. Website puzzleroompittsburgh.com. Just click on the link in the below description. Us old people don't get anything right anyway. So
it's true.
It is. It's the older we get, the more we screw up, but I do my best anyway. So yeah, long story short, we enjoyed our experience, and we do want to go back for the other 2 rooms. So give Puzzle Room Pittsburgh and Primal Pigment a look. If you guys haven't already, subscribed to us on Twitch and YouTube. That way you can stay up to date with any new content I happen to publish. And this is Vincent Idley. But stay tuned. There is an interview coming. Take care, guys.
Bye, guys.
It's just comfy.
Oh, okay. It is comfy. Yeah. So why did you get into the escape room business?
So we got into the escape room business. We opened in 2017, and we got into the escape room business mostly because we're enthusiasts. We love escape room games. We played our first couple escape room games, and we thought, this is amazing. I don't know how they put this together. This is so cool. and we probably did maybe, I don't know, 10 more, and we were like, we can totally do this. We got to do this. And we wanted to make our own version of these puzzles. We thought it would be fun to make our own experience and add our own flavor to it.
Makes sense. Did you have any inspiration? Like, why did you pick these particular themes? You mentioned earlier off camera that you're big, like, horror buff, for example. Did the study and the Sasquatch and the zombies, like, was that special meaning to you, or?
So the way it kind of came about was we were thinking of themes, and we had played a lot of the traditional escape room themes many times. Prison breaks, laboratories. These things have, again, become, like, played out kind of stuff. So we were thinking, what are some really cool things that we haven't seen before? What is something that, and we had a conversation one day just randomly about how amazing it is that, in 2016 or something at the time, that people were still looking for Sasquatch. We have all this technology and cameras and all this stuff, and there's still people out in the woods going, there's Sasquatch somewhere. So we thought that was just an interesting conversation. We're like, wow, what if we've never seen a Sasquatch escape room before? Let's do something like that. So that was kind of how Seeking Sasquatch was born. And then we thought that some people may be turned off by the idea of something that may seem intimidating or scary about Sasquatch. So we're like, well, what's something that's kind of more mundane but still mystery and fun and intriguing? So that's where the idea for the study was born, and that was the first 2 games that we opened with. And I think it was 2019 or 20 during the pandemic era that we came up with Escape the Undead, and that was born not necessarily out of the pandemic, but just out of my love for anything horror and haunted houses and things like that. And Pittsburgh at the time was lacking a horror style room, so that was kind of our fill a niche, at the same time scratch an itch that I personally enjoy as well. So
that's awesome. Do you have any plans to expand to more escape rooms, or like swap them out seasonally, or are you mainly sticking to these 3?
So we would like to eventually switch them over. Escape room life cycles vary from market to market. Ours still are very popular. We still book out on most weekends, pretty close to booked out on an average weekend. Cool. But these Seeking Sasquatch and the study have now been here for 5 years. So we are thinking about rebranding, redoing another game. As far as here, unfortunately, we are limited on space. We do have some ideas for one of the things that we're looking in the future for this building is maybe a small game that would be a seated game on a motion platform.
Oh, okay.
Which I've never seen personally in the escape room world. That is something that we are very interested in doing, and something that we may still have space for. But short of that, we unfortunately are tapped out on space unless we start taking over more of the building.
Right.
We are looking forward to maybe opening another location with our other business, Primal Pigment.
Okay.
And the 2 pair together very well, so that may be something in the future that when we get a second location, we may do both things at a new location if possible. So.
Okay, cool. Is there a room that you would have liked to have done, but you couldn't because of like copyright and IP and stuff?
Yes, I would love to do a Rick and Morty room something like where you travel to different dimensions. That's been one of my big things. There was another one too, Legends of the Hidden Temple.
Oh my God, that's
I would love. I was a huge Nickelodeon kid, so I would love to do that. Licensing obviously wouldn't allow for those things, but there's some constraints on that. There's a ton. I mean, I could go branded stuff all day if I had the opportunity, but I don't think anybody'd give me the license for it. So,
No Indiana Jones or Star Wars anytime soon.
Listen, I would love to do any of those things. They would be great. I don't know how I'm going to build an at, but I'll figure it out,
Do you have any advice or tips for beginners?
Yeah, the biggest piece of advice is communication. Always communicate with your team. Don't rule anything out. A lot of times children do very well in our escape rooms because they aren't limited by the constraints of an adult way of thinking. Right. They go in and think anything's possible. An adult goes in and says, no, that can't be it. Yeah, right. And a lot of times that's their downfall because they don't have the out-of-the-box thinking that the younger kids do. A 12 to 14-year-old can do very well in our games because they're starting to get the reasoning skills and then also have some of that. So communication, definitely. Explore everything and keep it simple. Don't look for the crazy answers. Look for the simple answers. They're usually it.
Okay. And we had talked about this before, so apologies for the repeat.
That's okay.
What steps do you take to ensure that folks don't get hung up or too frustrated on puzzles?
So we use a couple different methods from experience. We definitely try to double layer some clues. We try to give 2 ways to get to an answer a lot of times.
Okay.
We try to give, obviously our primary clue, and then sometimes we give like a secondary clue that is via the wording or the way that a puzzle is presented. Sometimes that's helpful. Also with our games, we are, watching and listening the entire time. So in addition to you being able to ask for a clue, we only give 3 clues. But in addition to that, we can be helpful in saying, hey, make sure you look over here, or something that may not be like a full clue that you're using, but we also try to make sure that we don't leave you hanging and steer you into the right direction without giving you a full-on clue sometimes.
Makes sense. And we'd also talked earlier about online digital escape rooms, like Escape Simulator and Escape Academy. Do you have a favorite?
I'd say I Expect You to Die is probably one of my favorites as a VR experience. It was very well done. I love that it's a VR and you're sitting in the game, so you don't get motion sickness. That's a huge plus. But the gameplay is very fun. It's challenging. It's entertaining. It's really good. I would say a close second would be the Escape Academy. As far as puzzle games go, Escape Academy is highly recommended. It was very well done. It was polished well, and the puzzles were fun. And I'd say Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes is always another one that is escape room-esque. But those 3 would be my top puzzle games at the time right now. I think that they're a lot of fun, and they're very escape room oriented. Obviously Escape Academy is an escape room game, but the other 2 are more just puzzle games that are similar to.
That's awesome. And this is coming from someone that's had, you said, 500
I've done a little over 200. We lost count after about 200 or so, and we stopped keeping track. But for a while there's an app now it's called Morty. And Morty is an escape room. You can find escape rooms and rate them through there, but you can also keep track of your games, which is really good. I'm not a paid sponsor or anything. Right. I just like it because it was a cool idea. Someone had to do it, and they did it very well. But yeah, I wish it would have been around in the beginning because you can keep track of all the games that you've done, and we lost track quickly after after like 150. We're like, I don't know, we played there, we remember. So
awesome. So we kind of spoke earlier about, you have a sister company that you also manage. What's the name of that, and what does that all entail?
That is Primal Pigment. So it's located in the same building as us. That's in our basement. And Primal Pigment is a blacklight splatter paint experience. So what that is you get a coverall suit, you get a canvas, and you go into our splatter paint room, and you get crazy. Throw paint everywhere, and we have add-ons like balloons and squirt guns, and you make a canvas that you get to take home with you, but you can also have a paint fight in the meantime.
Okay.
You spray your friends, hit your family with paint, just get absolutely crazy in there, and it is just a very good time. And the name is derivative of, what is one of the most primal things in human instinct, to just fling stuff and be crazy. And, Primal Pigment is what that is. It's just it's a fun base experience that anybody can have fun. Kids have fun because they make a mess and don't get in trouble for it, and parents have fun because they don't have to clean up the mess. So
I can imagine
it's
what
kind
that
of
would
the
look
best.
like.
Yeah.
So does everyone suit up like in a special outfit? Or
yeah, so everybody gets a disposable Tyvek suit, so you stay completely clean, short of your hands and your face, which we also have face covering so you don't get paint in your eyes or anything. We have goggles, and then we also have face shields. It depends on how much paint you're willing to get on you during the experience, but you can choose one of those too.
Okay. And how long does a typical paint experience work? Is it do you charge per every 10 minutes or per canvas, or how does that all?
So we have different packages. Each package includes every package includes your protective gear no matter what, and then each package has different sizes of canvas, different amounts of paint, different add-ons, squirt guns, paint balloons, things like that. So depending on what package you have, that's going to depend on the items that you get for the room. And then each experience has the same amount of time. So it's a 1 hour experience. You get 15 minutes to prep and all that stuff, to get dressed, to pick out your paint colors, things like that. You get 30 minutes inside the room, and then afterward it's about 15 minutes of cleanup or so. So that's the hour experience there. And then afterward it takes about anywhere from 30 to 40 minutes, depending on the amount of paint applied to the canvas for the paintings to dry. We have what I call our magical drying machine, and it dries the painting in about 30-40 minutes, which is pretty good considering our baseline was like almost 2 hours for a painting to dry, just sitting out in air.
Wow.
So, our machine gets it done in about 30 minutes. So you just hang out. We have a spacious lobby with games, and we have digital gaming tops, like touchscreen gaming tops and stuff
cool.
like that. We have a foosball table. We have some other games. We have a classic little Pong tabletop arcade, so
Neat.
stuff like that.
Okay. Now, I'm not very knowledgeable about paint. When I think paint, I think fumes. Is there like a special paint that's safe for folks to
Yeah.
use, or how does that work?
So we have the paint that we use is actually specifically designed for things like this. If you've ever seen something like they have paint runs where they spray paint on everybody,
Okay.
or like paint raves and parties and things like that.
Okay.
So that's the type of paint that we use. It is ANSI certified and all that stuff. It is skin safe. It's non-toxic. You can get it in your mouth. It doesn't taste good,
Right.
but it tastes terrible. But it is safe if you get it in your mouth or anywhere else, and it washes off the skin. Clothes even, as long as they're dark colored. Lighter color clothes can get a little staining, but obviously you're covered, so you don't really have that problem very often. But yeah, it is skin safe, and it is low fume, as well as we have ventilation in the room. So we have ventilation going
cool.
out of the room, and then inside the room we have fans just to keep the any kind of funky smells that you may get in there.
Right.
Keep it moving and keep it
From the
keep
kids
it
and
dry.
the adults too, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, between that, and we are BYOB, so you know people bring in their drinks
Yeah.
and stuff, and it's like, all right, we'll get the smells out afterwards. So
That's
yeah.
awesome. So how do you exactly paint? You said there were guns. Is there like super soakers, or what are your tools or weapons of choice?
So there's multiple ways. So we our standard thing is obviously we have brushes. You get a brush for every cup of paint that you get. Then we also have additional things that you can get, like super soakers. We have different levels of guns. So we have small, medium, and large. So you can get something as small as just a regular little water pistol that you might see, very small.
Okay.
Then our medium guns, we have pump super soakers. We have one called the splatter shot, where it is a rival Nerf gun. It comes with balls, but you pour paint into the barrel of it, and then when you shoot it, it's like a shotgun blast. It's a huge splatter, and it really gives you a big spray. And then we have bigger guns. We have one that has 4 nozzles on it, so when you shoot that, it shoots 4 nozzles of paint. We have a double nozzle one that spins when you shoot, so it does like a spiral.
Oh, okay.
We have paint balloons, and with the paint balloons, you can throw them. You can just throw them anywhere. You can throw them at the ceiling and make it rain paint.
Holy
We have a slingshot launcher, like a traditional slingshot. We have a 3-person launcher where 2 people would hold it and one pulls it back and shoots it. We have a giant paint drum inside the room, so kind of like Blue Man Group style. You can pour paint on it and bang on the drum and send paint flying everywhere. We have a tether ball inside the room, so you can pour paint on the tether ball, smack the tether ball, and it'll fly around and splatter paint everywhere.
Wow. Okay.
We have one called the glitter gat. You can put glitter in that and then shoot it on top of your painting to get a shiny coat on top of everything.
How do you clean this room afterwards?
We don't, is the short answer. Our room is, it stays painted. It doesn't ever get, so what happens is we let it get painted up to a certain point, and I'd say about once every month to a month and a half, I go in there and spray the whole thing black again and start from a clean slate.
Okay.
So we repaint it, and then on the floors we also have, our floors are concrete down there, but we put a paper coating on top of it so that it's non-slip if there's paint that accumulates on the floor. We don't want anybody falling and getting hurt. So we use like a construction cardboard paper that goes on the floor, and that gets replaced again. As soon as it gets messed to a certain degree, we remove it and replace that as well.
That's awesome. So overall, between like both businesses, are there any unique challenges that you guys face?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of unique challenges. Being an escape room is it definitely had a lot more things to it than we initially thought as a business. Things like just customer wear and tear. Sometimes people get excited. Sometimes people don't listen when they say, "Hey, you don't have to force anything," and they're tearing stuff apart.
Yes.
So maintenance is always just an upkeep thing here. It's interesting when we built our games that customers find different ways to solve puzzles than you initially would think. A lot of times you want a puzzle to be done this way, and that's the way that, in me or Jessica's mind, we might think, oh, this is how this game is going to work, and this is how it's going to present itself, and this is how players are going to take it. And in practice, that doesn't always work that way. We find ourselves, when we design a game, it goes through an extensive beta testing period because we find puzzles that don't work, things that aren't fun. If it feels like homework, it's not fun anymore. Who wants to pay to do math homework? That's no fun at all. So we really try to design games that are fun and engaging, but that also means sometimes rebuilding things and rebuilding and reimagining how we present these things and what it takes to get them to be entertaining. And with the paint stuff, there is it's a new business. So just something as simple as finding a way to dispense paint out of 5-gallon buckets is an interesting challenge down there. How to dry a painting in 30 minutes versus 2 hours. There's a lot of challenges there. Squirt guns that will fall apart because you put paint in them one time. We have to find the right guns that work for us, and guns that will squirt paint in the first place, and the right mixture of water to paint for squirt guns because paint's too thick. And so there's some unique challenges there that we definitely are constantly addressing.
Awesome. Okay. Do you have any specials, or do you run specials on a weekly basis, or what kind of deals do you have that are usually available or seasonal, or how does that work?
So we obviously run seasonal specials. We have different things for both places. We do group rates upstairs here. We do weekday specials and things like that. We run them on our Facebook. We run them on our Instagram and all that there, and we always put them on our website as well.
Okay.
PuzzleRoomPittsburgh.com, PrimalPigment.com are always a great place to find anything that we're doing, as well as our social media pages. Puzzle Room Pittsburgh, Primal Pigment. They're pretty easy to find. Okay. But yeah, we do rotating specials on there. Something that we always do, like right now we're doing one downstairs. We call it Primal Plinko. If you play during a weekday, we have a giant Plinko down there, and you put a Plinko in, and you get a free add-on depending on where you land. There's anything from 4 tickets for the escape room up here to a free cup of paint or a t-shirt or an extra squirt gun or whatever. So that's something cool that we do during the weekdays down there. And then we also do some things up here. Right now we're running a promo for any day that you guys play at, Puzzle Room Pittsburgh, you get a chance to crack our safe.
Okay.
In our safe, there is $300 cash.
Wow.
There is a $200 gift card for Primal Pigment, as well as a merch pack with t-shirts and glasses and stuff for both businesses. So anytime someone plays with us right now, they play an escape room, you get a chance. Each person gets a chance at the safe. It's a 4-digit number. There's no clues. There's no puzzles involved. It is just a random 4-digit number.
Wow.
And we have been doing it for several months now, so we actually are giving some little hints now. They're non-repeating numbers, and they are 2 odds, 2 evens. So that's our clues right now that we started to give. And what happens is if you don't get the answer to the safe, you write it on our wall of numbers that do not work. So if you noticed all the numbers in there when you were in that room, there is a whole wall full of numbers there. And that's our non-working number
I was
wall.
wondering, I thought there was heights or dates, and I'm like, okay.
Well, especially some of them, we have some really tall customers sometimes that
I'm
get way up there.
Yeah, I'm like, dang. How do they fit down the slide?
Yeah, they had to duck to get through the door. You know?
Right.
So, yeah.
Is there anything else that we missed that you wanted to promote or talk about, or?
I think that's it. I mean, come try it out. It's a lot of fun. Between Puzzle Room and Primal, it's a great day out. And in the area down here, we have a lot of great stuff. If you want to have a day out down here, we have Inner Groove Brewing. We have another brewery across the street. We have another one up the street. We have Off the Rails Barbecue, is a great restaurant right there. Mm-hmm. We have Berg Thai, which is around the corner. So there's some great places to eat. Also over in Oakmont, there's Oakmont Bakery, of course. Mm-hmm. So, a lot of people don't know about us down here, but it's a great night out for somebody who wants to do a couple things. You can go have some drinks, you can have dinner, come do an escape room, do Primal Pigment. It's a whole night out for you in one area as opposed to having to hop around to multiple places. So
that's awesome.
I like to think of us as a hidden gem over here.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time to give us the grand tour and to see us through our first escape room. That was a really strange, fun, and I don't know. It's a lot different than what I thought it would be, but it's good. It's a good different.
Definitely, I hear that a lot, and honestly, that was the same experience that I had the first time I did an escape room. It wasn't what I expected, but I was pleasantly surprised. Yes. But it was definitely interesting.
I would definitely do this again.
Absolutely.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Well, thanks for playing with us.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate your time.
Absolutely.